The story of Bugatti is a compelling saga of brilliance, adversity, and revival. It begins over a century ago in the basement workshop of young Ettore Bugatti, who, fueled by ambition and raw talent, took a bold leap of faith. Having completed his first automobile, Ettore left his job and founded his own company in France. In the span of a few years, he created some of the most elegant and performance-driven cars the world had ever seen, solidifying his reputation as an engineering genius. But his meteoric rise would eventually collide with tragedy. Ettore was ultimately forced to relinquish control of his company, unaware of the extraordinary legacy the Bugatti name would later become. Ettore was born on September 15, 1881 in Milan, Italy, into a family steeped in artistry. His father, Carlo Bugatti, was a celebrated designer of furniture and jewelry, and his grandfather, a renowned sculptor and architect. This creative lineage also extended to Ettore's younger brother, Rembrandt, a prodigious sculptor whose brilliance may have influenced Ettore to channel his own creativity into engineering instead. Even without formal instruction, Ettore displayed mechanical prowess from a young age, so much so that at 16, he effortlessly repaired a broken tricycle, earning his father's recognition and support. That encouragement led him into an apprenticeship with Prinetti and Stucci, a notable maker of bicycles and sewing machines, where Ettore's fascination with machines and ultimately automobiles was born. Just a year later, he constructed his own motorized tricycle and competed in a race from Paris to Bordeaux. Though his creation was powered by two De Dion engines, it marked his formal entry into automobile engineering. A few years later, Ettore secured his first professional contract with the De Dietrich Company, which operated in both France and Germany. Despite his youth, this contract, signed when he was just 19, launched his career in vehicle design. Relocating from Milan to Niederbronn, Germany, he honed his craft, designing vehicles and even entering some early competitions. In 1903, his second automobile, crafted for the Paris-Madrid race, was deemed too unconventional. The engine and driver positioned low in the chassis for superior aerodynamics, a configuration that would later become the norm in racing. By 1906, Ettore had departed De Dietrich. At a time when automobiles were handcrafted singularly and only accessible to the elite, he envisioned something different, lighter, more agile vehicles that could outperform on weight rather than sheer power. Around 1907, he married Barbara Josefina Machera and forged a multi-year deal with engine maker Deutz in Cologne. Yet the desire to innovate persisted, and in 1909, from his basement workshop, he completed his first car under his own name, the Bugatti Type 10. Weighing only 365 kilograms and equipped with a 1.2-liter four-cylinder engine, this two-seater could top 80 kilometers per hour, an extraordinary feat for the era. He Occam-Cold his final courage, resigned from his job, and drove the Type 10 to Molsheim, Alsace, to launch Automobiles Ettore Bugatti. This year became doubly significant, marking both the founding of the brand and the birth of his first son, Jean. Not one to rest, Ettore refined his blueprint into the Type 13, enhancing it with a multi-valve head and rear leaf springs. Producing around 30 horsepower, this design took second place at the 1911 French Grand Prix and soon captured widespread acclaim. World War I brought a pause to production, prompting Ettore to adapt. He returned to Milan, then Paris, and collaborated with the Duesenberg brothers, co-developing the U16 engine concept that later influenced overhead camshaft in straight-eight designs. After the war, Ettore resumed work in Molsheim, now French territory, and with the Type 13 Brescia, he seized victories at Le Mans, 1920, Brescia, and elsewhere. By 1925, over 400 victories had been logged, and roughly 2,000 Type 13 Brescias built. In 1924, Ettore introduced the Type 35 at the Grand Prix in Lyon, a model that achieved over 1,000 race wins and cemented Bugatti's dominance in motorsport. As the 1930s unfolded, Bugatti continued scoring remarkable triumphs, including back-to-back Le Mans wins in 1937 and 1939 with the indomitable Type 57 tank, driven by Pierre Veyron. Emboldened by racing success, Ettore and Jean ventured into luxury with the opulent Type 41 Royale, the longest, most lavish car of its time, built exclusively for royalty and very elite clientele. However, when the Great Depression struck, the sale of Royales ground to a halt, pushing Bugatti toward bankruptcy. Ettore shifted gears, agreeing to design 80 rail cars for the French railways, an essential lifeline that sustained his company through the crisis. But union unrest at the Molsheim plant eroded trust between Ettore and his workers, and internal strife lingered. Nevertheless, Ettore and Jean continued innovating, designing legendary models like the Atlantic, Royale, and Type 57. Then, tragedy struck. In June 1939, following a Le Mans victory, Jean died in a road test accident. The emotional toll devastated Ettore. Within weeks, Germany invaded Alsace. Despite his best efforts to move machinery to Bordeaux, he was coerced into selling the company at a fraction of its worth and forced to flee to Paris. His Italian nationality and wartime accusations made restitution impossible. Even after efforts to reclaim his company post-war, he was ultimately denied. Further misfortune followed. Barbara died in 1944, and Ettore endured declining health. Hemiplegia, lung disease, and eventually a stroke left him mentally and physically incapacitated. Though his assets were finally restored, it was too late. Ettore passed away in 1947, just 10 days after receiving news of his reinstated ownership. Without capable heirs, the company folded and lay dormant for decades, but the Bugatti spirit endured. In 1987, Italian entrepreneur Romano Artioli revived the brand, introducing the EB110 in 1992, a glittering supercar that reached 213 miles per hour, though production remained limited at 139 units. The revival faltered financially by 1995. Yet in 1998, Volkswagen Group acquired Bugatti, igniting a true comeback. After years of development, the Veyron debuted in 2005, shattering records as the fastest production car, 254 miles per hour. In 2015, it was replaced by the Chiron, which again pushed performance farther, setting a 305 miles per hour milestone in 2019. From its humble beginnings in a German basement to becoming the pinnacle of hypercars, Bugatti remains a testament to one man's genius, passion, and enduring legacy.